Hi. This week, on each day, I'm presenting the solution, positive solutions to problems facing America. Yesterday, we discussed healthcare. Tomorrow, we'll be discussing Iran and North Korea possibly getting nuclear weapons and missiles to deliver them. But today, I'd like to talk about the economy. You've probably heard some of the videos I've been putting out with quoting the economist Jim Fitzgibbons, head of the Highlander Fund, who says that we are headed for a major economic crash. He predicts the stock market will lose 20% of its value by the end of the year and will continue to drop into 2016, not 15, 16, and he feels that we'll enter a full-blown depression on unemployment and stuff like that. And there is all of this money floating around because the Fed has printed it based on really nothing. And the issue is a hopeless debt in the country and so on. So what's the solution? How do we get out of it? I believe there are many different solutions. Tax reform, you've got to lower the tax rate. You've got to have a flat tax rate. You've got to reduce the corporate tax rate. You've got to get rid of the tax loopholes so the economy is not based on how to jump through the loophole, but how to promote growth. You should lower or perhaps eliminate the capital gains tax so that there's no obstacle to putting into effect innovative ideas and technologies and sciences because the investment is not taxed. All kinds of stuff. But ultimately, the most important thing, I believe, is to go to the gold standard. I had opposed the gold standard when I was first introduced to it back during the 2008 election when Ron Paul proposed it, and I was fairly hostile to it. But since then, I've really gotten an education. Herman Cain has helped in that process. And I've really learned why the gold standard is crucial. The key element in my education was to see what the hell politicians do when you give them control of a printing press, like the Federal Reserve has now. They just go hog wild. Ever since 2009, our money supply has almost quadrupled in the United States. And just printing it, ultimately the dollar, I think, not ultimately, in a few years is going to lose its global position because the Fed has so abused, and Obama has let them abuse, the power to print money. And all of the inflation that we've had, the dollar has lost about 95% of its value over the last 100 years, is all due to going off the gold standard. The huge increase in oil prices that took place when OPEC was founded in 1973 was largely because in 72, Nixon took us off the gold standard. And the Saudis said, we're going to keep the price of oil constant in terms of gold, but you're printing money not based on gold, and we'll just continue to raise the price. So it is constant in terms of gold. In 1948, it took 15 barrels of oil to buy 1 ounce of gold. Today, it takes 15 barrels of oil to buy 1 ounce of gold. The prices remain constant. It's the dollar that has been losing its value because of the printing press. And what you need to do is to, at a certain point in time, compute the market value of gold. You don't fix it artificially. You freeze it in place as the market determines it. And then you limit the ability to print money and the ability to have money in circulation based on the amount of gold. And you keep that as a check and a balance on the ability of politicians to to print money. That'll also hold interest rates down. So much of the increase in interest rates, which are now going up again, is because of fear of inflation. And if you master the fear of inflation, you don't have to have high interest rates. We traditionally had very low rates in the United States for 100 years. It was only after we left the gold standard that they began to become malleable and go up and down and up and down. So I believe this is a decision that will be forced on the United States. I think it is becoming so clear that the political establishment of every country cannot be trusted to print their own money, and that eventually you're going to have an objective standard which the gold standard will provide. Thanks a lot for watching.